Well, everyone, welcome to Redmen TV, the Merseyside Derby Wednesday night. I'm joined by the lads from Toffee TV who have very, very graciously agreed to come in and do this show. Baz and Ped. Baz, look, first and foremost, thanks, because I genuinely thought this was going to be the first time where you just basically told me to swivel on this. We're not playing Pro Evo or anything this year, because you don't need it. You just don't need it.
Don't need that stress in our lives. Bad enough.
It's we were talking about a bit about you on the build-up show, whatever. But I can't fathom, and we had a bit of a debate about this in the office today. I can't work out why yous aren't better. No. But like, I'm not trying to be a prick about it. I look at the players you've got, and I can't wrap my head around why you're 2 points ahead of the relegation zone.
I think it's the players we haven't got more than anything else. If we, if being genuine, it's the players we haven't got. We've got no midfield really at all. We lost Garner. I'm not sure whether the club realised how much of an effect he had on the team.
Yeah.
We never replaced them as such. We brought Gabaman in, but you're bringing in someone raw from Germany. Got injured after 2 games, and we've got no one else in our squad. Zuma at the back, pace, power, never replaced him. Michael Keane and Mina are just not a partnership suited to each other. And we've got, I remember sitting here pretty much last year talking about how we were a decent team, but we couldn't score goals, and we still can't score goals. Mm-hmm. So there's the whole span of your team there that effectively we haven't got.
It felt like, because you played Richarlison centre forward a lot last season, it always felt like it's the kind of thing that managers do in the interim. So you look at what you've got, and you lash a lad in there who's the best of your options. And at times I thought it looked like it worked really well, and he seemed to go back to that a few weeks ago. But that for me is the thing, and I saw you Ped saying the other day, but I don't know what your thoughts are on it, Baz. I've always thought a goal scorer papers over a lot of cracks. Man United have had this for a few years. You can get away with not being brilliant, provided you've got someone to bang the ball in the back of the net. And like, Cenk Tosun's not the answer. As much as I think, look, he's a problem. He causes problems, doesn't he? He's not crap. He's not a 20-goal a season centre forward. And then you've got the lad from Juventus as well, whose name completely is Moise Kean. Who, again, he's got talent. Yeah. And then you've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who looks like he's got the full package, but again, doesn't score enough. Is that, you should have just basically gone big on a centre forward, is what I'm kind of driving at.
It's who you bring in though, isn't it? It's who you can convince to come. When we haven't got European football to offer these people, it's difficult to get top level strikers in. We had Lukaku for 4 years and 20 goals every year. It was great, but we just haven't replaced him. We haven't been able to replace him. We took a gamble on Moise Kean because he's got loads of potential. He's not played enough.
Yeah,
that's the simple thing. The manager, you either have to make a decision with a centre forward like that when he's young, is either play through it, so you just play him regardless, let him get used to the league, let him get, take his time, he'll adjust to it and score goals. But he hasn't done that, the manager. He's put him in and took him out. And we've done that with all our strikers. Yeah. We start, Calvert-Lewin's been up front, then he's come back out. Tosun came from being 4th choice striker to start in 2 games on the run because he scored a header against Tottenham. Richarlison, the thing with Richarlison is he's better closer to goal you can get him. Yeah. So I actually think he can play centre forward, but he has to be part of a Liverpool front three, if you like, where he's one of 3, and you need other players in with him. And that's been an issue. We haven't got anyone. The pair of us go through it many times and go, who's the best option at the moment? Dom's probably the best option, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but then he played Sunday and he was rubbish. So there's nobody who you can go, if I play him, he will give me a 7 out of 10 every week.
Silva's getting all the stick at the moment, but is it? I remember having a conversation with you about Koeman and saying you were in a position where you fell out with the idea of Koeman, but the problem is that you end up on this cycle of you've now got a squad filled with loads of other fellas players, and at some point you're going to have to stick with someone. But I'm not saying it should be Silva, by the way. Yeah. I've got empathy for the situation here, because if he's not the right man, now's the time for him to get rid, because right now 2 or 3 wins will change a season.
Yeah, He's not the right man for me. He hasn't been the right man for me since about January, to be honest. I don't think he's got... Well, he hasn't got much, to be honest. I think he's a good coach, but in games, I just think he's so short of ideas. We've seen it against Leicester on Sunday. Set up perfectly, set up really well, frustrated and got a goal on the break. And the minute they made a change, he didn't know how to react, and that's essentially him. The
but is that a result? Because my feelings, because I watched that game, was that, and I said this is what Rafa did at the end of his Liverpool tenure. You go right. Well, we're not scoring goals, so we need to make sure that we stop conceding them, and you give up your philosophy. And I'm not saying I don't know enough about Silva to know what his identity in that regard was. But when you then going away to teams that you would like to consider yourself on a par with at least, and you're defending, you're putting 5 at the back effectively, and then it doesn't work.
But even on Sunday though, were we under masses of pressure? I don't think we did. We just don't want to see games out.
But it did, but it did feel inevitable that they...
But it did, but it only feels inevitable
once they'd equalise.
Because it's Everton. Because we watch this every week and we know how players just fall to bits. There's no leaders in the club, no leaders on the pitch, and there's no leaders off the pitch. And the only leader we've got off the pitch is not really allowed to talk very much. We had him recently in our studio.
Is he really big?
He's quite tall fella, yeah.
And he rhymes with bunk.
He can't maybe coach the way he wants to coach or have an influence the way he wants to have an influence. So towards the end of games, you start panicking and I think it goes on to the players. They start doing stupid things, like trying to play thread passes through when they're not on. Whereas what you do is you do the same thing a lad are doing Sunday League, and you go, let's just hit the corners and turn them round. The basic things, because if you win points instead of losing games, and then points turn into wins, suddenly your season does change. At the moment, Sheffield United and Wolves have won the same amount of games as Everton.
Yeah.
But people are looking at them going, they're having great seasons. I know Wolves are managing Europe as well, so they are. It's our losses. It's the fact that we can't grind out draws. We went to Brighton 2-2. We'd been done over by VAR. And you're thinking, all right, we've been done over. It's not our day. Hold out for a point. Lose in the last minute. Because we've got all our players up front. And our defenders are 20 yards behind the halfway line. So there's a massive gap to run into. Same thing happened on Sunday.
Is that the way you fall down? Because I always wondered about, and Everton have fallen more and more. I think they've always had this problem. Is that, and you'll excuse me when I make the comparisons because I don't mean it in the way that you might take offence to. West Brom have a similar problem and West Ham have a similar problem with identity. Is that you want attacking footy, you naturally want attacking football as fans, but you then, when that doesn't work, the immediate knee-jerk reaction is to flip back to having a really organised defensive sort of guy who gets you to a nice solid foundation again, and then you go, well, hang on a second, we can do better than this, so we want more attacking football. And the problem with Silva is he probably still falls into that category of thinking, because you went into the season, and rightly so, whether you did or didn't, I looked at you this season and said, no reason why you can't be challenging for between 4th and 6th in the league, because it's in so much flux. And is that the problem? Is you've got a manager who maybe wants that, but doesn't know how to achieve that with the players he's got, and then as a result doesn't want to give up on that and be. And then when he becomes a defensive manager, that's not how he does it. So he's not going to do it as well as someone. You get what I'm.
I mean, the West Brom thing's going in the bin, because that's like me comparing Liverpool to Sunderland. So let's throw that one in a bin straight off. But he's not flexible enough to do that, and Ped's right. There's been times this season where if we would have took 3 draws instead of still trying to win it. We had 7 players up front in the 94th minute at Brighton, and they broke on us and won.
Well, if you pick up 3 draws,
we'd have been 3 points.
You're 3 points off 5th. All of a sudden,
exactly. So you're looking like that and going, well, yeah, all right. But it's a difficult one because you're trying to win games, because 3 points is much better than 1. Of course it is. But when you're losing and it becomes a habit, that's where we're into, and that's the territory we're in now. And I think the problem is we had a 3-month period last season where we were terrible, and then we recovered. We beat most of the top 6 at home, and we had a good run and finished on a high. Bought some players in the summer, like Ped said. Garner's a big miss. They probably should have got 2 in for Garner, because it's not just the fact that Garner isn't there.
It's Snyderland still there.
Exactly. So you're not even replacing someone who runs around like Garner but isn't as good. You're replacing someone who runs around and puts out fires with someone who stands and just passes the ball side to side.
Yeah.
And that might have value in a very attacking side. He could probably play in your side and be all right because you've got runners everywhere. But in a side that needs him to run, he can't run. So when we're matching players up, they're not the same.
You've got no pace at the back either.
There's nothing at the back. So
you know having someone like Garner allowed us to play 10 yards higher up the pitch, or having Zuma on allowed us to play, and then you're a naturally more attacking side. Look at the goal we conceded, the last minute goal we conceded on Sunday. The back four are all backing off, and that's why they're not reacting, because they're terrified of the pace, and because our midfield's so slow, it's on the other side of the runner. Whereas if you've got someone like Garner and you've got someone like Zuma, pace can get you out of trouble, even if you're not even good. Yeah. It can get you out of trouble, and that's another fact that we haven't got. The problem with this manager is that he's got a philosophy, but he can't change, and he hasn't got the strength in his personality to make decisions that affect the club. And there's no one on the pitch either who's got the personality. There's no one who gets hold of the other players and says, "What are you doing? Yeah. Just kick her up there." Because when it's up there, we're not in danger in the last minute of the game. There's no. You look at Sigurdsson's the captain, for God's sake. What does that tell you about the level of player? What we should have done is, in the summer, is gone out and bought a couple of characters. And people might Liverpool fans might snigger at this, but look, someone like Rondon, right? Play up front, lead the line, strong, fast. If you've got a couple of them in your squad that you know you're going to get like that 7 out of 10, nothing fancy, nothing, but just players that can give you that strength and have got that strength of personality within the squad. We haven't got that. It's just all over the place. We've been buying these characterless players.
You know, I actually saw you tweeting about it. Danny Ings, like he's not a phenomenal goal scorer, but you can hang your hat on him. You know what he is. He's a kind of lad who'll run through a brick wall for you for 95 minutes. And the
problem is he's got a body of someone who runs through brick walls. That's one of the issues with him.
No, but also he wouldn't be able to score in every game he plays against us as well.
Most of his goals come against us. So
but there are there's players out there, like Premier League players who understand. It's why Mark Noble plays every week for West Ham. Yeah. It's that kind of player who understands how to play in the Premier League and just has that kind of calm and effect on other players. We had them for years, and people probably laughed at those kind of players, but they were the players that...
But the problem you've got, I think, is that it comes back to identity. You haven't had an established identity for so long that, like, Tom Davies should be able to do a bit of that. But the problem is he's a bit like the kind of players that Brendan Rodgers left at Liverpool, who are quite technically gifted, but he's not exceptional at anything. And look, he's quite a nice lad, and he's quite a cultured lad, and all that kind of stuff. You actually need someone with a bit more fire in the belly, and you've kind of felt Ross Barkley was a bit the same in that regard. You know, when you're coming into games like the derby, getting Ross Barkley and Tom Davies fired up, all you're going to do is get them sent off, because they're not the kind of lads who have that kind of the ability to harness the aggression in the right way.
What we've lost is, we had the core of players, and whether people think they're good enough or not, the likes of Jagielka, Baines, Coleman in his prime, even the likes of Osman, they were the players that would fill the gaps and would try and help build a team spirit at the club. Everyone used to say when someone got signed, Osman would show them the way of the club, and there would have been players before them who would have shown him, and you've had your Cales and people like that. People, established characters at Everton Football Club, would have shown them the values of Everton and the identity, and that gets passed on from one player to the next. But in the last 4 years since Merseyside come in, is that because the turnover of players. By the way, our most senior player at the club at the moment, who wasn't bought by Moyes, is Umanias.
Is he still?
Who's still at Everton, by the way? Who's still at Everton? He plays for the under-21s and the under-23s.
Oh, he's
29.
Scoring this week.
He's 29 and he plays for the under-21s. That tells you. But that's the point. He's our most senior player who wasn't bought by Moyes. That sort of tells you everything you need to know about this club. They've just been buying and not thinking about the value of the player they're buying.
The problem.
Why? Why aren't you blaming Marcel Brands for any of this stuff?
Well, I was blaming him in the summer when we never got centre back. On deadline day, I was in that room next door talking about why haven't we gone and got a centre-back? Why have we left it so late? Why have we handed the manager 2 senior centre-backs? One I don't rate in Michael Keane, and the other one is Holgate, who's a kid. Why did we do that? And no, oh well, you know, we wanted Zuma to the last minute. We couldn't get Zuma, so why did we do that? And it's these decisions, and Marcel Brands has got away with murder. But I suppose from the other, if you turn it around, why is Marcel Brands such a big name? Why do we all know his name? Who knows the name of the guy who does that for you behind your scenes? You'll know him, but other people don't know.
Michael Edwards, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But man, behind you that as well.
So we all know.
No one knows who does it for less.
I think the thing with Brands is judged by who he's bought. We bought 13 players, and on the whole, all 13 have been very good. But there's no team. Yeah, that's the issue.
Well, this is the point, isn't
it?
But this comes into like a guiding ethos. And Liverpool's a bit back to front in some regards, because Klopp has earned the power. To be fair, but you know they work in unison. They work in harmony. You need to either have your director of football be all powerful, and the manager. You get the manager to fit what you've got in your squad, or you go to you get a manager for the long term that you know is going to be be the business, and you build for his side, and that's the issue, is that ultimately Brands is the only unifying factor across this couple of few seasons, isn't he really? And so when you've got a disjointed squad, it feels like we have with Rodgers, because Michael Edwards was responsible at the point. Brendan Rodgers threw him under the bus. He was briefing the Daily Mail or whatever to say it's this laptop guy who's basically moving it for us. Klopp loves him because he believes in him and he buys into what they're trying to do.
Liverpool have got those. They made a decision, didn't they, with Rodgers? That I remember talking to you and I was saying he's not good enough for Liverpool, and you were like, "Oh, he's a great coach and all that." But then Klopp come available, and Liverpool went, "Well, he's better. We got him." And you've got someone who come in and is that personality that goes, "This is how I do stuff." Yeah. And it took a couple of years, but he's look at you now.
But the thing is, that's the hope for us, though. Yeah, exactly. But we finished. We were in the Europa League. We got Klopp on Europa League football. You know that having finished well comfortably outside the top 4. That Brendan Rodgers last season. We've been in the Champions League once in 5 years or whatever prior to that. So and there's. Unfortunately, this is not me trying to rub it in. Liverpool have a bigger stature,
of course
they do, but it's about someone selling you've got to sell whatever, and I feel you fall into the category a little bit too much of you've got the money, but you're still quite excited by having the money. You know what I mean? Like, who can we get? Who's available? Wow, we can get such and such. Like, Alex Iwobi's a fine player. Theo Walcott's a fine player. Gylfi Sigurdsson, these are all fine Premier League players, but they smack of, we've got money to spend, who can we buy with this money?
Though,
not buying...
Iwobi's a good player. The other two I agree with.
But you've just named 3 players who were all bought by different people.
But they're all bought by Marcel Brands.
No, they weren't.
Walcott and Thingy went. They were bought by Allardyce.
Sigurdsson was Welsh. Only one player there.
And Walcott was Welsh as well.
Iwobi was bought for a reason. He was bought because he carries the ball up the pitch. But the manager doesn't play him, though. That's the point. The manager doesn't play him. He's only played 2 or 3 times in the number 10 role. And when he plays there, he's added value to us scoring goals. You've seen that. You've seen that on Sunday, when in our goal. That's the problem, is that you're absolutely right. We do need someone to unite us all as fans. But the problem is, who is he? And this is, I'm not excited by the money anymore. The money to me has become a bit of a thing round our neck. People out there shouting for like Pochettino and Mourinho before he went to Spurs and these kind of people. I always say to myself, well, if Klopp become available tomorrow, would he go and manage Udinese in Italy or Real Betis in Spain? The answer is no, because that's what we are now. Yeah. We are not. We don't play in Europe, so we can't. We might have money, but actually, in terms of what we've got money-wise, it's only about halfway.
You're doing a very similar thing to Man United, I think, in some regards, except they've got the stature and all the backing of it, is that they're looking around, they've got a guy there who's just, again, it's that thing of, who can I get? Who's available? Oh, go on, yeah, we'll have a little punt on this and that. There's not you just need a guy to come in and go, right, this is I'm redefining what the Everton way is. You don't necessarily need to say it, you just need to see it in actions on the pitch. You just have a guy who make your team run through brick walls, and then you sort the rest out after that.
The problem is, and you've just got it nailed there, we need a manager who'll come in and say to Marcel Brands, you go and do what you need to do, but you go and do it in the background, and I'll be the front for it, and I'll be the front for everything at this club.
Yeah.
And it's finding that. That's what Klopp's done. Yeah. Klopp's come in and stuck out his chest and went, I'll take all the flack and I'll do everything. And while I'm doing that, you all go and sort this club out round the back, right? But that's the problem with Everton. Silva is the beacon for what's going wrong at Everton. So everything goes, why hasn't he been sacked yet? So then therefore it must be Marcel Bronson's fault, or it must be Ken Wright's fault, or it must be Denise Barrett Baxendale. I mean, pick one, there's about 27 of them you can pick it up, and that's another problem, right? So he can't take it, because when he walked into a press conference, I've just been listening to him there, nearly fell asleep. He's the most dullest man on earth. He's so dull, right? So as a fan, you're just like, you're not inspired. You need someone who just fronts it up. Klopp walked into Liverpool and asked the fans why they were all leaving with 10 minutes to go. Yeah. He was asking why the atmosphere was crap. He challenged them all. And the silent majority went, he's absolutely right. This is a disgrace. Why are all these fans getting off? He united your club. We don't have anyone. I've only got one name that I'd bring to Everton who could do that. And it's Rafa Benitez. And that's the irony of it.
But he wouldn't necessarily unite the fans.
But that's not what he would do though. Is for me as a manager, because I think he's the only manager available who could do it. He mightn't unite the fans, but what he would do is he would take the flack.
Yeah.
And he's big enough to take the flack.
Yeah.
And that's why for me he's the only manager out there I would give the job to, because I think he's big enough to allow Brands in the background to get up. Brands said when he walked in, don't think this is going to take, this is going to take a year. This is a long-term project. We've got to turn loads on, and we know he's got to, because he's almost fighting at the club. There's a mentality of certain people at the club who've been there for a very long time, and he's got to change that round, and that's hard when you're an outsider.
Yeah.
But when you're in the shop window because your manager isn't big enough to take that pressure, that creates problems, and so we need someone. So Rafa Benitez, by the definition of the fact that he was Liverpool manager, that he did give Everton a bit of grief in the past, will go, well, I'll do that. Yeah. He did it at Chelsea.
You need one of those things in it where you need someone who's got experience and a way of playing that isn't Sam Allardyce. That isn't one of the break glass. And look, you were saying we were talking about Moyes. I wonder whether this is a Bill Kenwright issue, because old True Blue, Bill Kenwright a little bit, loves the club a little bit too much.
Why is he still at the club?
Yeah, exactly. But I think he's too emotionally invested in it all that he might make he might force one of those decisions, a nostalgic appointment once again. Whereas someone like Rafa, and I think I'm amazed that no one else is like someone like Arsenal haven't gone and grabbed Rafa just for a couple of seasons, just to go and win some silverware, go and win the Europa League with Rafa, and win and just get yourself back up and running, because he's a guy. He's got a template, same as Mourinho. He's not going to play incredible football for a year or two, but he'll come in, get everyone organised, get everyone disciplined. He'll have the respect of everyone because he's won stuff. But he knows he gets he gets a boss goalkeeper, he gets someone who can save stuff and punch stuff. He gets a good centre half, he gets a good he'll go and put a spine in.
Can't say we haven't got a boss goalkeeper.
No comment before the game.
What are you trying to say?
He is a good keeper.
He's fine, but he's far more.
He's a rattig.
Yeah. But again, though, that comes to leadership, doesn't it? Maybe someone like Benitez would sort his head out, and if he didn't sort it out, he'd be out the club.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Benitez makes sense because of what he's done. I don't know whether the reason why Moyes has been mentioned.
You're only a couple of bad results. So what the problem with Rafa is, and this is why Rafa coming back to Liverpool was never a good idea pre-Klopp. As much as I wanted it, it's because loads of our fans had turned on him big time.
People have got to grow up.
No, I know.
Listen, like this is why I want Benitez, right? Everton are looking at one of the biggest decisions they're ever going to make going forward is the stadium, right? Now, there'll be a lot of people out there now don't believe Everton are getting a new stadium. You're all probably... I've had this with Si, who honestly thinks Everton are not getting it. We sat in the room with the man making it. We've sat in rooms with the people whose job it is to get it all done. And if they were honest, if someone is massively on a wind-up if it's not happening, because they have spent literally millions and tens of millions getting this ground sorted, right? But obviously it won't happen unless Everton are in the Premier League, right? Because of the money. It's as simple as that. It's simple, isn't it? It's money comes from the Premier League. If you haven't got it, we're not getting a new stadium. So
I don't know, the parachute payment's quite big for the Championship, aren't they?
For a year.
So Everton have got to make sure that they're on a nice level, setting. Go when planning permission's going in sometime this month.
Yeah.
Everton have got to make sure that everything is fine at the club.
Next week it is.
Yeah, everything's fine at the club. That's what they've got to make sure. At the moment, everything isn't fine at the club.
Yeah.
So that's the only way we can get to a playing field where we can ever challenge to try and get in the Champions League is by having a stadium, a stadium that earns you money, and that's and people can make those faces as much as they want.
My only qualm with this is that City have done this a bit and West Ham have done it, and there's two different examples of how it can work for you. It's a bit like buying all your gym gear and getting your membership sorted before you actually get into the swing of going to the gym. Get the ground. Use having another 10,000 seats.
It's not about that though.
Doesn't.
It's not. Have you been to Goodison recently?
It's fucking horrendous.
It's not horrendous, but how long can it last? A stadium like that? How long can a club like Everton last with a stadium like that?
It's not just that.
With FFP.
It feels like with FFP, mate.
To be honest.
No, but it can't.
You have to do it.
That's why have you built it? Why are you building all four? You've got 4 new stands now, or you will have. Once
eventually, but over the course of 30 years.
No, but what I'm saying is though, you've rebuilt your entire ground, and you're going to get this new end sorted, aren't you? Right. So. How much difference is that having your new big stand?
Look at...
No, but... No,
can't have yourself, can you?
No, but that's what... It's a big stand.
It is a big stand.
It's a very big stand. But how much of an effect has that had on the club in the last couple of years?
Yeah, but...
See, you're saying but straight away.
Yeah, but we
so it has had an effect, hasn't it?
Yes.
But
money... Are you talking about being the fundamental reason why Liverpool went on and won the Champions League?
I'm not.
No, you've got to get the other bits. You have to get the other bits right
but we
first.
can't get the other bits because no.
I don't think it's chicken and egg.
No. Because right, with FFP, the ladder has been pulled up, right? So our owner could have as much money as he wanted. No, but he could. No, look.
No, you're right.
Hear me out. He could have as much money as he wanted, right? But how much can you spend on renaming your training ground?
But it's not. Football doesn't work in the ways that you think in that way. Your match day revenues are no longer the biggest source of income. You're talking about incremental gains when you're talking about match day revenues these days. And again, if you can get more people on site and all around the club, you can, and it can have an impact. You've got to build everything up.
Of course you have.
But nothing builds revenues like having a good football team that plays good footy that get that as success on the pitch.
I appreciate that. But one of the problems for us is we can't always buy the players we want to buy because we put it this way, we could go to a centre forward in Europe, right? And they might go, well, we'll offer you 40 million. They go, no, I'm not going to play for Everton. And they go, well, we'll offer you 150,000. And they go, no, all right, we'll offer you 200,000. And they'll go, okay, I'll think about it now. But we can't offer them that money because of FFP. We simply can't. Whereas a ground allows you to do that. I'm not saying it's... You've got to think about it long term. You're thinking about it right now. I'm thinking about it long term.
No. Everton, but also, Liverpool... There's different ways of doing things. That's the Man United way of doing things. The way to do it is to do...
Sensible.
Look, Tottenham Hotspur didn't build the ground and then be in the Champions League for 5 years back to back.
No, but they...
And Arsenal did.
So when do we not build the ground until we get in the Champions League? Because by the time we got in the Champions League, our ground probably wouldn't be allowed in the Champions League.
Maybe this. Look, you might.
Don't forget, Spurs put their planning permission in 10 years ago.
Yeah. Look again.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. You're looking at it, going build your team in it, but it's got to be done. And you've got to do it.
Do it at the same
time. It's got
time.
to be twin track, Paul. At the end of the day, Everton's biggest problem is they haven't made the right decision with managers since David Moyes left. They took a manager from Wigan, a manager from Southampton, a manager from Watford.
Yeah.
What are those 3 teams telling you?
But you're doing it with the players as well. And there's evidence you can do that if you get the right guy. You get the best player from those teams, and it's different. But at the moment, you're talking about Gylfi Sigurdsson from. Well, we went via. He'd been at Spurs, but he's from Swansea. You're talking about it. You get my point on that. We've done a very good job of not talking about the match, by the way.
Well, there's no point talking about the match, is there?
You know my fear on this, and this is mad, and this is where we're at. I said this on our build-up show, is the fact that no one's even talking about the possibility of Everton getting anything from this game is the only thing that frightens me about it, and that's mad because it's not based on anything. That's just based in utter, we've tried everything else. We've had every possible discussion in all the years we've been coming in and doing these shows. Every ounce of hope has been wrung out of you boys as we've gone along it, and maybe that's. Silva's. Do we think Silva's going to go if you don't win this?
Hopefully.
What's the point?
What, in keeping them or getting rid of them?
No, but if we're making it at the decision point of like, this is the game, if they lose, he gets the boot. But it's been like if you win, do you keep you? So if you win,
no, I think the fact that I think I know that seems weird, like you sack them because you lost the derby. It's not that. I think after the Norwich game, they looked at the next two fixtures, playing the top two, and thought, what's the point in bringing either a Ferguson in or a Unsworth in to two games that were likely going to get beaten anyway? Or what's the point in bringing someone else in? Wouldn't it be better to appoint someone? Chelsea at home, Chelsea, I think they're beatable. Mm-hmm. And whoever come in would probably think that as well with the new manager and everything else. But if you're almost sacrificing them to Anfield, aren't you, in their first or second game?
And I suppose Chelsea, they're going to be on that brink, I think, in the next month.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them.
If they're still in the top four come January, then they'll probably finish top four. But there's every chance that they slip out in the coming weeks. And is that just they're the lowest hanging fruit of?
But that's the home game against Chelsea is a lot more attractive than an away game at Anfield for your first or your second game, isn't it? And I just think for Silva, for Everton last time this happened 2 years ago, don't forget, we went like 4 to 6 weeks with David Unsworth and we were all over the shop.
Yeah.
And then we appointed Sam Allardyce, who everyone always...
One game and everything was fine.
But everyone always knew that he was going to be a short-term appointment. So you had a very, very short-term appointment to a short-term appointment, and the club had just always felt in flux.
Yeah.
Whereas, listen, sitting here now, I don't know who Everton will bring in. I really don't. And that's part of the problem. But
the game
we've
itself,
got to get their head sorted.
Are you going to do the same as you did against Leicester? Do you think you're going to go 5 at the back?
I'd have no problem doing that because it worked quite well against Leicester. Go with the 5 at the back, use the wing backs to get in. There'll be space in behind. Your 2 full backs. Sidderby had a great game on Sunday.
I actually thought he did, yeah. Get
people involved. What we have to do, I'd take Sigurdsson out. Wouldn't have him anywhere near it. Play Snyder and just tell him to just sit. Don't leave that area of the pitch. And get Iwobi and Davis trying to compete with your midfield. I mean, in terms of legs, rather than... Because I think if we went with what he's done most of the time, which is 4-2-3-1, nothing will happen. Last year was the first derby in a while where
that was
felt quite confident
going in.
The closest
you being the better team. And
I was confident going into that because we were playing quite well. We had Garner, we had Gomez and Bernard, and they all played very well that day, and we were unfortunate, the way it happened and all that. But this time we haven't got those players in midfield who will get hold of the ball, so it's about a battle. It's about trying to close the passing lanes down for Liverpool, make it difficult, sit as deep as we can, and try to get you turning. And that's the way it is, and that's how we've got to approach it. We need a massive bit of luck. We need you to not be firing. And it'd be absolutely berserk if
this was the one
Everton won when that you are amazing and we're terrible.
That's it.
I can't see it.
I said on Twitter though, big dunks, dogs of war, turn up into Liverpool's kids in the FA Cup third round.
Will it be your kids?
It was against Wolves last season. We played a 16-year-old at 10.
I'd rather have played you in a couple of weeks. I know that. I think in a couple of weeks I would have been a little bit more confident. Just be thinking, there's a chance because of your fixture pile up and stuff. But I can't sit here and have any confidence. And that's not just because our team's rubbish. It's but on the bones of our asses as well. You look at the team. Bernard's just coming back from injury. Andre Gomez is out. We've got.
Gabamon
won't be back till next month, and he probably won't do anything this season. Delph isn't fit. As you mentioned before, we haven't got a centre forward to call our own. I have no idea who'll play front for this one. And because we haven't, then Richarlison sometimes plays left, sometimes he plays right. It's just all over the place, and until...
Is it one of those games, you've had a few of them in recent years, to be fair, and I remember it with Roy Hodgson, where you just, at that point where you just think, you don't want to be embarrassed or whatever, but there's a draw does you no favours.
It did me a favour.
But in terms of Silva's future, if you get it, like let's say you get a good draw, and you get all the feel good fact that you score a late equaliser, and you a bit like the Jagielka one a few years ago, and you walk out bouncing. We had this with Rodgers at Goodison Park a few seasons ago before he left, where you could do with something. You could do with it
definitive.
Yeah, exactly. Like a bit
if
of
that's the way the club are thinking, then we're finished as a football club. If that's the way you think, Silva's finished. No, he is though. He's finished. You can't start the season with 8 defeats. You just can't. You're going into December. This could be our 9th defeat out of what, 15 games?
Yeah.
No, that's unacceptable by anybody. He's just not good enough to be Everton manager.
Where the message coming from Merseyside is we want to be a team that challenges to get in the top 4.
You
right?
know who fucked you on
No, but
this?
hang on, right? Arsenal have sacked their manager in the 7th.
Yeah.
So if we want to be on Arsenal's par,
Well, Spurs and Arsenal have just bulleted the
Watford have
managers.
just sacked their second manager this season. So maybe they'll have Silva if we sack him, because they keep taking them back, don't they?
Yeah, oh my God, you're going to end up getting...
We're going to get Happy Gracia, we're going to have. That's who we'll have. Or Maserati or whatever.
Yeah. You know who fucked us? And they fucked everyone in the league by existing? Leicester. Because what's so special about Leicester?
Well, they've turned the spotlight, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've turned the spotlight on Everton, really, massively this season.
The thing about Leicester
Playing in blue, coming out of nowhere to challenge for the titles.
The thing about Leicester is that there's no... I don't think there's any pressure on them either by their own fans. Whereas Everton fans, we know, are massively, like... I mean, it's weird because we're demanding, but we're also not demanding. Like, we demand something, but I'm not always sure what we know what we're demanding.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, 1 minute it's to win things, next minute it's hard work, next minute it's just run through a brick wall, next minute it's something else. We just demand something.
The only hope I've got
Anfield
is
probably a good
4
place as
years
well.
ago you had Ricky Lambert up front, and now you're champions of Europe, and I'm probably going to win the league. So that's the only thing that keeps me going.
It's funny that, isn't it?
You were falling from Roy Hodgson and Kenny Dalglish
We
and
had
Brendan
Fabio
Rodgers.
Barini, Ricky Lambert and Mario
But
Balotelli.
what did it take? It took a plan and everyone knowing what they're doing. And I'm not sitting here by any means saying Everton could get to that level, because I would never ever believe we could get to that level.
Just on that, we were talking about this on our news show. We went from that to having 4 players in the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or this year.
No, but what I would say is they weren't top 10 when you bought them.
No,
you created, through coaching and confidence and belief, you've created those players. Yeah. And that atmosphere doesn't exist at Everton. It doesn't exist.
But it didn't exist at Liverpool.
No, but I'm saying that doesn't exist at the moment, and that's something that I think only a manager, by challenging fans, can actually do that. Yeah. Turning on you, we did a show last year about the atmosphere at Goodison and saying it needs someone at the club to come out and go, this is not right. But this is Everton's biggest problem, and this is why we mentioned Bill Kenwright, is while he's still at the club, right? He will always bow down to the feelings of the fans, and sometimes it's not about the feelings of the fans. Benitez should be top of the list as far as I'm concerned for managers, right? You might get him, whatever, but he should be top of the list. Kenwright would never go for him because he's terrified.
Well, there was a great story from Andy Grant, who's our mate, who's the motivational speaker, who has done talks for like England and major clubs, and he went to have a meeting at Everton, and Dave Unsworth found out he was a Liverpool fan and said, "No, we can't have you because you don't fit with the ethos of the club." And it's like, because he's a Liverpool fan, and they're the things. Listen, lads, we're going to have to stop. If you want to hear more of these cry-arse and about how bad it is at Everton, there's an entire channel for it at the moment.
And we're doing a really good job, by the way. We're doing a really, really good job of it.
Yeah. Right, yeah, thanks very much. Leave your thoughts on the game in the comments section underneath. I don't like it. I don't like... You've always got a bit of something. It makes me really uncomfortable.
Can I just say as well?
Can I just say as
well, any Liverpool fan who wants to see us relegated, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Right? For this one reason, right? It would be like having your birthday on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
You can't celebrate 2 things at once, can you?
Okay.
You think about it like that.
If you're telling me I can't celebrate winning the Premier League at the same time as celebrating you getting relegated,
would you?
I'm prepared. Challenge accepted.
No, I don't think you could do that.
No. I don't want you to get relegated. I don't, because it would only be funny for a short spell of time. I'd have a season to last, but if you just didn't come back up.
We wouldn't come back up.
But that's the problem.
We'd become Sunderland if we went down.
Yeah,
no, we would though. We would, because we don't. The club wouldn't come back.
Yeah, well, yeah, I disagree. But anyway,
we're not going down anyway.
I don't think you're going down either. But yeah,
but
anyway, you're going to win. You're going to win one of Wednesday or the FA Cup. I'm saying.
No,
yeah,
I wouldn't think. I wouldn't 100%. Think that. I wouldn't think that was true.
Honest.
I wouldn't think that was.
I mean,
true.
I've seen the fact we've won 5 Anfield derbies in my lifetime. Yeah. Nothing tells me that we're going to win another one in the next month when we're crap. But who knows? That's footy.
Well, I hope you're right about this
footy.
one thing. Listen, drop a like on the video. Go and subscribe to Toffee TV as well, of course. And thank you very much to the gents. I know that's hard work, but there we go. We've done it. It's out the way for another month.
For God's sake. Just replay this.
Yeah. It might be very similar. It might be very similar.
Just take out Silva for Ferguson.
I wouldn't surprise if Silva was still there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, see you all soon. Ta-ra.